I'm getting such great questions about different flavors. So a bunch of people were asking about blue raspberry. Where did that one come from? In 1958, the Food Additives Amendment was passed. And so they were sort of cracking down on food additives, making sure that dyes and such were safe. FD&C red number 2 was the dye that was being used for raspberry flavor. The safety of that particular dye was being called into question at that time. Looks like the first reference to a blue raspberry flavored food was in 1958. It's this blue raspberry snow cone flavor from a company called Gold Medal. They sell concession equipment and concession supplies. It's not entirely clear if this was due to the fact that they may have heard that the FDA was potentially going to ban that FD&C red number 2 color. Seems to be the first reference to a blue raspberry flavored food. In 1970, icee came out with their blue raspberry flavored icee. They decided to go with blue for raspberry because they had already created a cherry flavor, and that was sort of their signature flavor. So they just wanted a different color to differentiate it from the red cherry that they already had. So it doesn't seem like this one had to do with the red dye number 2 that still wasn't banned yet, but the safety was still in question. This just had to do with the fact that they wanted a different color from their cherry flavor, and it could potentially have been because Gold Medal already had a snow cone flavor out that was blue raspberry, and so potentially they had already seen it somewhere and just decided to use blue for the raspberry flavor. It was also strongly inspired by their logo, which is red and blue, so they wanted a red flavor and a blue flavor. Around the same time that icee came out with their blue raspberry flavored icee, Otter Pop released a blue raspberry flavored Otter Pop. So these ones really made the blue raspberry flavor a little bit more widespread and available to more people. It became more popular. So that FD&C red dye number 2 was eventually banned in 1976. It's unclear whether that actually had anything to do with these companies creating a blue raspberry flavor. That dye is actually still approved in Europe, which is ironic because you always hear people talking about colors that are banned in Europe but not the US. So this is one of those colors that's actually banned in the US and it's still approved in Europe. Yes, there is a bluish raspberry. This is the white bark raspberry. It's a dark bluish purple when it's ripe. It doesn't seem like this had anything to do with those first blue raspberry products. So I'm not entirely sure if those first blue raspberry ices and such were a different flavor from red raspberry flavor, but it seems like food companies now do differentiate it, and blue raspberry is a little bit more tart than a red raspberry flavor. If there's any flavor chemists out there that see this and know more about that, let me know.